to go about this. A lot has happened in the past week or so. Everyone was talking about some kind of murder on a train. Someone stabbed another person, and I thought that's sad, but doesn't that happen all the time? And I looked into it eventually because people wouldn't stop talking about it, and the perpetrator, someone who was arrested 14 times and is continually released into the public. And I'm over here wondering, how does that happen? I understand there's some level of violence everywhere all the time, but if that's the case, that's one of the most preventable situations I've seen. And then, as that discussion is going on, well, now the internet is exploding because Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And of course, everyone's talking about it, so I'm not necessarily covering new ground or breaking anything here, but it happens right after that, one after the other, and the train stabbing is happening after other things that are going on. And what's strange is I start connecting the dots because I don't like taking part in various political discussions like this. I've never uploaded anything talking about that. I upload videos either with some gameplay clips or I make animations. I don't really care. But then I realized, wait a minute. What did Charlie Kirk do? I'd seen some of his videos. He talks. Like, he sets up events where he talks to people, and he doesn't really say anything controversial. He has rather generic conservative views. Believe in the Lord, pro-life, simple things. And all he does is he wants to talk. And he gets taken down in a high-profile manner. And while the shocking, I also think that's one person getting shot by one person, right? That's seemingly, I mean, it's shocking, but it's not a big deal, right? But then people celebrate it. And of course, even then, I'm thinking, there's always been crazy people on the internet, all the time, right? Every time something bad happens, someone supports it. There's people that believe everything. There's people that support just everything. It's all over the internet. So I'm still thinking, like, okay, these people are picking cherry-picked examples, right? Certainly this isn't wide scale. And then people I know online either support or say, I don't support assassination, but he said, and they would just make something up, and I'm like, where did he say that? I'm trying to find out. That's not true, and even if it was true, it's not worth murdering someone. Or they're saying, well, the tensions are so high because Donald Trump made this happen because he made everyone hate each other or something. What does that have to do with anything? I'm failing to understand where people are making these connections. And going back to the case with the lady killed on the subway, or whatnot. Why was that person released 14 times? That's still a relevant topic. I understand it's been overshadowed by the assassination, but it traces back to the defund the police movement from George Floyd. George Floyd dies, and I'm like, okay, that looks bad, and it turns out, I mean, people have a million reasons why they think he died, but it's also undeniable that he had a lethal overdose of fentanyl in his system as he died, and was exhibiting symptoms of fentanyl overdose, and refused to get in the car, and the moment he was secured, EMS was called. It's nearly identical to an arrest he had a year before, and I didn't know this because no one talked about it, but he had an arrest the year before that went exactly the same, except his fent overdose was a bit smaller, so he didn't die. It's weird that no one talks about this. There's aspects of reality that are incredibly relevant to things that are happening right now that no one even understands exists. And then people are... I know I'm going back and forth here, but I'm not scripting this. I don't care. The way people can ignore murder because we're so divided. We're so in sides. Everything is one side or the other. The same way I support the Cowboys because they're my team. Well, now I support the left. It's my team. The right is my team. So, wow, a right-wing figure got absolutely slaughtered in what is the most undeniable example of political violence we've seen in our generation. And because it would make the left look bad, everyone who seems to have some semblance there is trying to do whataboutism. I'm seeing people I know, I'm seeing people in my own family that are trying to say, well, he had it coming, well, he provoked it. And I'm trying to see where. Show me quotes, anything. There's no complete quotes that warrant anything that's been going on. But because it was someone who was on the other team who got killed, well, he had to have been some kind of bad. And certainly, it's not the fault of anything someone on our side has been saying. So I'm trying to think, and I'm looking into this because while I was aware of Charlie Kirk and I'd seen some of his videos, I didn't know too much. I pay a little more attention, and his big views would be faith in the Lord. So he's a Christian. He's a very standard Christian. He believes in the Bible. He is pro-life. Well, the past decade, being pro-life has been labeled misogyny. A woman needs to have the right to kill her gestating baby because it liberates her and gives her more options. So, opposing that is misogyny. And, well, misogyny is worth opposing, right? And that's been going on for a decade. Or, for example, he opposes transgenderism in schools and whatnot. He doesn't support the idea of transgenderism, which is a very normal thing to see from someone who follows the Bible. And, well, we're told that anything people say that doesn't support transgenderism contributes to a trans genocide. Even something as simple as let's just not give elementary kids sexualized books. That's considered a trans genocide. Well, everyone knows genocide is worth killing to oppose. And that label has been slapped around day after week, after month, after year, for the past decade. Supporting proper legal immigration over illegal immigration. There's this weird issue where people are conflating everything together with migrants. They're just using that word, not discussing the fact that there's illegal trespassers, there's legal immigrants that come in. So it seems like a rather normal thing to have an opinion of let's focus on legal and stop the illegal. But that's been considered fascism. When people trespass and they're deported, that's called fascism. That label has been slandered every day for a decade, and we know that at its core, fascism is worth killing to end. So they intentionally put the label of fascism on standard views like this. The thing is, immigration enforcement isn't new under Donald Trump. Obama deported illegal immigrants. Illegal aliens, I suppose. Bush, Clinton. It's a relatively normal thing. It was nonpartisan. Or the ideas of pro-life. That's a normal thing to believe. If people disagree with it, they disagree with it. But to turn disagreement into you are authoritarian and controlling for not wanting a human life to be killed, that's extreme, and that label is being intentionally placed. And what I don't understand is how overnight the veil seems to have been lifted, where obviously it's actually been rather extreme for years, I've noticed. I just tried to sidestep it for a while, but now people just are over it and don't care. He said, I'm quoting people on Facebook, or X, or Twitter even. Well, X is Twitter, TikTok, all that shit. I'm going all around looking at various different things, and I'm just seeing people saying, oh, he said thing, he deserves to die. And they'll paraphrase, they'll make things up, they'll misinterpret, but even if they're correct in falsifying quotes, it's just strange to me how quick people dismiss assassination. Or when that healthcare CEO is gunned down in the street, some people turned Luigi the assassin into an icon. He murdered someone, and I don't care about corrupt corpo businessmen. Obviously, people in these big financial, healthcare, insurance, whatever, yeah, they're big business people. They're not the best examples of humanity, duh. But people are celebrating murder. And I found it strange. And everything's coming together where I'm seeing people in my own family. Well, I don't even know how to word this. I'm seeing people in my own family that I've grown up with my entire life saying, whataboutism? Well, he had it coming. Someone else will post, Donald Trump sparked this, and I'm seeing people in my family saying, yeah, well said. Or I'm seeing people try to take a middle ground approach. Like, it's wrong that he was assassinated, but he said various controversial things and relied on clickbait. And how do you make a middle ground, nuanced approach to a one-sided, unreciprocated assassination on the world stage? Everyone saw what happened, both in person and all over the internet. He just wanted to talk. He spoke words. And his neck was split open for the world to see. Make that make sense. 'Cause it sure fucking doesn't to me. Everything feels different today than it did a few days ago. And I kind of figured there'd be some initial shock and maybe it would wear out. But no, it really seems a different chapter of history has just been ignited. I think we left an era and entered another instantly. And a lot of people don't realize it because they're trying to downplay this because they're afraid it'll make their political football team look bad. Of course, I'm sure plenty of people have spoken about this feeling, but I don't know what happens next. I don't know how people are going to respond. Because this doesn't feel like another random act of violence. We've seen that before. We've seen Antifa, BLM, whatever, rioters kill people in the streets. Like 30 people died in the riots immediately following George Floyd's suicide. All the voice of the unheard, right? In fiery but mostly peaceful protest, here's dozens of bodies as a result, but it's okay. And people I know would downplay it back then. That's still extreme. Years ago, people were downplaying wide-scale death and saying, well, that's not a part of the main movement, despite the fact that where these large associations of BLM protests happened, there was always a riot of people who participated in the protest, and it was always downplayed. It's been years, and in truth, I really feel like it was sparked ever since there was this odd opposition. You don't have to like Trump, but the opposition against him seems religious. Like this man's very existence is heresy for no reason, despite the fact that immigration enforcement is something normal that the left did, despite something that even tariffs, Nancy Pelosi, I was watching clips of her, a major Democrat right now, in the 90s saying the exact same thing that Donald Trump is saying now. I don't understand how everything that lines up with what the left and Democrats said 10, 20 years ago, well, more like 20 years ago, is somehow so far right that when blood is spilt, when people are gutted, that it has to be somehow middle grounded. Things have moved so far that despite the fact that I just want to sit back and play Helldivers, I can't shake the feeling that the world just is not the same as it used to be. And I don't think it's ever going to. So, pay attention to the people around you. If they at all try to justify or middle ground or nuance an unreciprocated murder, they're not someone you should tolerate. And I'm speaking from experience. There's people in my family that just don't have the heart of a human anymore. Doesn't even mean you have to be this side or that side. It's just... don't downplay don't... Just be careful. Watch your spirit, watch your soul, look to the Lord. And we'll see how things go in the coming year. Bye.
Samurai だ！ 侍がいるぞ！